officially started, guys. We're back here for part 2 of the Allison swap in the 2004 Excursion. Got it up on the lift. Gonna go ahead and drain the fluid, as you guys can see. And yeah, this will be the last time this Excursion has a 4R100 in it. So stay tuned and we'll see what happens. All right, you guys, I'll put you on the wide lens here, but you can see transmission's out. Both drive shafts are out. We'll have to get some drive shaft work done. But anyways, you can see the flywheel's in. This is one of their specialty pieces here. This is pressed on, fully welded all the way around from what they just told me. Only hiccup we're running into is the factory spacer plate for the bell housing. It needs to be clearanced here at this 3 o'clock position. But other than that, yeah, you can see caconversions.com. And all this oil just from the dipstick adapter. We got to get another one of those ordered, so we'll install that later. You can see our T-fork kit up there. But yeah, everything's looking good. All the wiring and everything just sits down here. We reused the stock ESOF transfer case, electronic shift on the fly, their own oil cooler bypass, which will probably be mounted up somewhere through the frame rail, I assume. You can see it's literally snowing in their building here. And you can look out the window. It is literally snowing in Florida right now. All right, you guys, well, red's up on the lift. You can see we have all the old trans-cooler lines here. We're going to reuse the stock 6.0 transmission cooler because that's what they do here at CA Conversions. They use the big 6.0 trans cooler, uses half-inch line. They went ahead and back flushed it there. We got their spacer in. This is an Allison 1000. Got new hardware. The guy behind all this, they had to move this back. Apparently this is longer and whatnot, but yeah.
And we just had to drill one hole for the rubber mount. The one on the right-hand side, the left one drops in the factory hole.
There you go. You got your spacer plate still using the stock ESOF transfer case and hit my head on exhaust hangers.
That's my job.
Yeah. You guys can see we have the stock harness. And you guys can see how tight that starter is. Oh man. But it fits. All right, you guys. So you can see everything's buttoned up. The rear drive shaft had to get shortened. They went ahead, shortened it, balanced it, reinstalled it. You guys can see the engine cross members all buttoned up. We went ahead and zip tied the factory harness up in the top left corner there of the transmission cross member. Also, you guys can see the front drive shafts installed. Our ESOF transfer case is all bolted in. You guys can see the big built spacer plate there with the adapter plate to go from the 4R100 transfer case to the Allison style output. Also, you guys can see in the side of the oil pan on the transmission there, we have a temperature bung welded into it so they can go ahead and hook up a temperature gauge to monitor transmission fluid temperature. Also, it utilizes the factory shift Ford cable, if you guys are wondering. Also, as far as the factory transmission temperature gauge in the dashboard, that will still work like normal. You guys can see our oil cooler bypass. So again, they utilized the factory 6.0 trans cooler that was installed previously. You guys can see those big half-inch lines. Other than that, everything's installed, cleaned up, ready to do the self-learn for the transmission relearn. And yeah. You guys can see, again, the harness is zip tied up. You can see the factory cross member there, and they had moved back a couple inches, the front and rear drive shafts. Again, you guys saw this, and I kind of talked about everything in the last couple clips, but I figured I'd give you guys a whole overview in the daylight. Now you can actually see. You can see the wiring harness for the transmission swaps, all nice and wire loomed, all zip tied up and tidied out of the way. Definitely one thing I like about their conversion kit is everything standalone. It's basically a self-contained unit besides a couple inputs to the truck. Obviously, the cruise control still works. The temperature gauge in the dashboard for the transmission still works. Four-wheel drive still works. It's like it never really was swapped from a 4R100 to an Allison to begin with. Yes, the only thing I really am not crazy about is how much it pushes the transmission back, because you have the adapter plate and the bell housing. Then also you guys have the big, like 5-inch thick donut spacer that goes between the transfer case and the back of the transmission. But other than that, if that's the only controversial things, it's really not a bad install. And you guys can see the big transmission plug there in the valve body on the right side coming out of the back of the transmission. And other than that, yeah, so far the customer definitely liked the swap, and I haven't got to physically drive the truck yet, but I will eventually have some footage of that. So make sure you guys stay tuned for part 3, where we actually dive into the install, showing you guys what it's like daily driving the Allison swap Excursion. Well guys, on the way back home, and that's where we're stopped at. Some inland gas station in Alabama. You can see the rental car is yeah, covered in snow. We're definitely heavy in the back, but doors are frozen, as you can see. We got some transmissions back here, and yeah, I probably should tighten that, but we're doing good. So I'll keep you guys updated. All right, you guys. So made another stop. Had to veer off I-65. A couple car accidents. You'll see some footage now. I'm at this whatever gas station this is, and you can see the Equinox here is we're nose heavy. We're heavy in the back with all the parts and transmission in the back. You can see all the ice and snow and everything just on it, the front wheels and everything. It's definitely fucking slippery out here, but back of the car is just covered in crap.